Before the world knew him as Pelé, the king of football, he was simply Edson Arantes do Nascimento, a young boy growing up in poverty in Brazil. His family struggled to make ends meet, and buying a real football was a luxury they could not afford. Instead, Pelé and his friends made their own balls by stuffing old socks with paper or rags, turning dusty streets into their playground. Despite the hardships, his love for the game never faded. Inspired by his father, a former footballer who had seen his own dreams cut short, Pelé spent countless hours practicing and imagining a better future. Long before the trophies, fame, and records, he was just a determined boy with a dream and an unshakable belief that football could change his life forever. At an age when most teenagers were worrying about school and homework, Pelé was already taking the football world by storm. After joining Santos FC as a young player, his extraordinary talent quickly turned him into a goal-scoring sensation. Match after match, he amazed fans with his speed, skill, and ability to find the back of the net. His performances were so impressive that Brazil selected him for the 1,958 FIFA World Cup squad when he was only 17 years old. What happened next shocked the world. Pelé scored crucial goals in both the semi-final and the final, helping Brazil capture its first ever World Cup title. In just a few weeks, the young teenager transformed from a promising talent into an international superstar, proving that age is no barrier when greatness is destined. Pelé's rise to global stardom began in the 1958 World Cup, where a 17-year-old teenager stunned the football world and announced himself on the biggest stage imaginable. He became the youngest player ever to score in a World Cup, combining fearless dribbling with a maturity far beyond his age. In the semi-final against France, he delivered a breathtaking hat-trick that silenced doubters and announced Brazil as a new football superpower. Then, in the final against Sweden, he scored twice, sealing Brazil's first-ever World Cup title and changing the nation's football identity forever. From that moment, Pelé was no longer just a promising talent, he was a global phenomenon. A 17-year-old changed football forever. In the 1962 and 1966 World Cups, Pelé's brilliance was repeatedly cut short by injury and ruthless defending, with opponents targeting him through brutal fouls that pushed his body to the limit and left him struggling to stay on the pitch. What had once looked like an unstoppable rise suddenly felt fragile, as critics began to question whether his best years were already behind him and whether the pressure of carrying a nation had finally caught up with him. At one point, the frustration and physical toll even made him consider walking away from international football altogether. Yet beneath the doubt and pain, something deeper was forming. The world saw a superstar. Pelé saw pain, pressure, and disappointment. The 1970 World Cup in Mexico marked the peak of Pelé's legacy, as he led a Brazil side often described as the greatest team in football history, blending flair, intelligence, and ruthless attacking power into a style that felt less like sport and more like performance art. With teammates who seemed to read each other's thoughts, Pelé orchestrated moments of pure brilliance throughout the tournament, including his powerful header against Italy in the final, a defining image of dominance and grace under pressure. As the ball hit the net and he celebrated with arms raised, it became more than a goal, it became a symbol of an era. That Brazil team didn't just win matches, they reshaped how football could be played. Football wasn't just a game anymore. It became art. With 3 World Cup titles, 1958, 1962, and 1970, Pelé built a legacy that no other player in history has matched, setting a standard that still defines greatness in football. While modern legends like Messi, Ronaldo, and Maradona have each left their own mark on the game, none have reached the same peak of World Cup success on the biggest stage more than once. That difference is what makes Pelé's achievement stand apart. Not just brilliance in moments, but dominance across an era. More than 6 decades later, nobody has matched Pele's greatest achievement. Pele's reputation as a goal machine is often summed up by the staggering figure of over 1,000 career goals, most of them scored during his years of dominance with Santos, where he terrorized defenses across Brazil and beyond with relentless consistency. Yet that number has long been debated, largely because it includes friendly matches, tour games, and unofficial fixtures that modern statistics often separate from competitive records. Even so, the argument misses the larger truth. Pele wasn't just a scorer. He was a global attraction, a player who turned every match into an event and helped transform Santos into an international powerhouse while elevating football's popularity across continents. Whether you count every goal or not, Pele's greatness was never measured by Pele's influence went far beyond Brazil, reaching a point where he became the first true global ambassador of football, helping turn the sport into a worldwide cultural force rather than just a regional passion. His move to the New York Cosmos in the later stage of his career played a major role in popularizing soccer in the United States, drawing massive attention, packed stadiums, and a new audience that had rarely engaged with the sport at that level before. By the time he arrived in America, Pele was already more than a player. He was a living symbol of football itself, recognized across continents in an era long before digital media could spread fame instantly. His presence alone elevated the game's status, inspiring future generations and laying the foundation for football's modern global reach. Before social media, before the internet, the world already knew one name, Pelé. Numbers alone. Pelé, Messi, and Ronaldo are often placed at the center of football's greatest debate, but the comparison is shaped as much by eras as by ability. Lionel Messi operates in the modern game of structured defenses, high analytics, and relentless media scrutiny, where creativity must survive in tightly organized systems. Cristiano Ronaldo built his legacy on physical dominance, consistency, and an unmatched goal-scoring mindset across multiple leagues and competitions. Meanwhile, Pelé represents a different football universe entirely, one where World Cup success, raw creativity, and global impact define greatness long before the modern era's tactical evolution. That's why the GOAT discussion never settles. Each legend dominated under completely different conditions, with different pressures, teammates, and styles of play. Pele's influence is often framed through his World Cup triumphs and his role in globalizing the sport, Messi through artistic playmaking at the highest technical level, and Ronaldo through relentless goal production and longevity. None of these legacies cancel the others. They simply reflect how football keeps evolving while greatness takes new forms. Greatness changes with every generation. Legends do not. Poor boy from Brazil, youngest World Cup superstar, 3-time World Cup champion, football's first global icon. From the streets where his journey began to the grandest stages of world football, Pele's story became something larger than sport itself, an evolution of talent, resilience, and destiny unfolding across generations. He carried Brazil to glory, redefined what greatness looked like at 17, and built a legacy that stretched far beyond trophies or records. Records can be broken, trophies can be won, but some legends become bigger than football itself, and that is why the world still calls him the King.